Call the meeting to order. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting held February 11th, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. May I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. And we have the good news report. Looks like Boyd Perkins is coming forward.
There we go. Good evening. My name is Boyd Perkins. I'm coordinator of fine arts here in the Sioux Falls schools. I've introduced myself numerous times, but there are a lot of people here who have probably not seen me before. So thank you for your time. It's absolutely my pleasure to come and give a good news report. One of the nice things about working in the fine arts is there's always a lot of good news going on, a lot of exciting events happening, and a lot of student accomplishments that I just love to come and talk about. One of the events that we have in the fine arts in our instrumental program is called the Allstate events that we have. We have Allstate chorus and orchestra and band, and there's also that going on at the middle school level. And I thought I'd just share with you some of the results that we have going on with that. It offers us a great chance to kind of see how we're doing in regards to some of the other programs. It also gives us a chance to evaluate some of the things that are going on within our program. The Allstate program in South Dakota, it tests the kids have to audition to get into that instrumentally, and that tests their musicianship, that's their ability to read music. They have to sight read to get in, and they also have to test their musicality. They also have to show up with prepared pieces, a solo and an etude that they do that. There's also a written test that they have to pass to get in that has music theory on it, as well as lots of Italian and French words that music is written in terms of the stylage of the music. For example, the word allegro, which means fast. They have to know about 100 of those words on to pass an exam to get in there. And it's part of their audition. So it's very comprehensive and allows them to really show what they can do. What we have here, I put up the 2018 middle school Allstate Orchestra results, because this is last year's, but there are some really interesting things that happened this year. Last year, you can see we had 7 kids make the South Dakota Middle School Allstate Orchestra. Sioux Falls School District has roughly half of the string players in the state right in our community. We had 7 kids make that out of 5 middle schools. You can see some of the other schools on there. That's last year. This is this year. We've been putting more emphasis on this in the program. You can see we jumped up from 7 up to 21, which is a considerable improvement in that, with Memorial having 8 up there and some of the other schools having that. At the middle school level, it is not a live audition. It's actually a recorded audition that they send in that is evaluated on that. Rapid City is really a very strong orchestra community. They have a Suzuki school there, which starts kids in grades starting at about age 5, sometimes 4, and really work on that all the way through. It's a well-developed program, which is why they have a high number of string players from Rapid City make that. There's a strong movement in Sioux Falls right now to start that same thing here. It's a private thing, not a school district thing. Okay. Here's the 2019 middle school All-State band results. You can see Patrick had 24, and you can see we had 42 total make the All-State band. At the middle school level, there are about 200 kids total who participate on that. So of all those schools, 42 of them are from the Sioux Falls School District. I think that speaks well for us. You'll notice also Sioux Falls Christian had the second highest amount with 17. And that's a symptom of Sioux Falls. There's a lot of opportunity for kids to get lessons and outside instruction that goes on there. All right, this is this year's high school Allstate Orchestra. You can see the numbers we had in there. There's 47 total. There are about 120 Allstate Orchestra students total. Of that, 47 were from Sioux Falls. That includes wind, strings, and percussion, not just the string instruments and not just the wind instruments in that. And Lincoln and Roosevelt and Washington, that all includes a lot of wind and percussion players in addition to the strings. Rapid City is mostly string players that are involved with that due to that program that they have there. And this is this year's Allstate band results. 69 total, which is very unprecedented in terms of Allstate band and the numbers going in there. There are far more band programs in the state of South Dakota than orchestra programs. Every little school's got a band program, but really only a handful of the larger schools have orchestra programs. So it's a much more diverse group of kids that get together. And most schools, the second highest amount of kids to get in were Roosevelt at 16. Lincoln, that's a new record for kids making Allstate band at 47. That last year they set the record at 40, and this year they were up at 47, which speaks really highly of what they do there. And those kids are, to get that, are getting a lot of private instruction and a lot of very focused. The program is centered around that and really builds through that. And Roosevelt came in second highest in the state with 16, and Washington had 6. And for 69 total, it creates 2 large buses going up to that Allstate band event. So what I'm hoping to see is those numbers to continue to go up. It's a very good opportunity for those directors to motivate those kids into that program. And when you have those kids that are rising up that level, the whole program elevates right along with that. That when they see those high-end kids really practicing hard, everybody rises up to that, and the expectations in the program just kind of rise right with that. So it's really a good indicator of the excellence that goes into what's happening there in the program. And that's all I have for today. So I appreciate your time and listening to that. It's exciting to get a chance to present that.
Thank you, Boyd.
Yes.
Great participation, and I know middle school Allstate band is in Huron this weekend. Is that right?
Yes, it's in Huron, and
okay.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Well,
we just had Allstate Orchestra last weekend, and that was in
yep. All right. Well, hopefully it's just cold weather, not snow and all of the other things. So good. Very good report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
All right. No conflicts of interest to deal with tonight. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. And consent agenda, supplemental consent agenda, claims to Sanford, 9A, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Could I get a motion for approval of those?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries with 2 abstentions, Board Member Mickelson, Board Member Ryder. And then 9B, an approval of claims to Avera.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, and that motion carries with 1 abstention, Board Member Parker. And we are on to the reports of the superintendent, Dr. Maher.
Thank you. We have 4 reports tonight. The first report is the physical education curriculum adoption that comes to you from the Departments of Curriculum Services and Special Services. Here to present is Ann Smith.
Good evening. The physical education curriculum study began in fall 2017 with the K-12 steering committee meeting. That committee consisted of teachers, administrators, parents, and community members. The group worked to develop the philosophy statement to guide the physical education curriculum review. And that philosophy statement is before you. The goal of our physical education program is to develop individuals who are knowledgeable in the areas of health and fitness and to demonstrate the age-appropriate skills and confidence necessary to enjoy a lifetime of healthful physical activity. That philosophy statement culminates in our mission statement to educate and prepare each student to engage in a lifetime of fitness. The committee also, working underneath the steering committee, were the various grade level committees. Their goal was to standardize the curriculum across all schools, ensuring that there is an equitable education for all students in the Sioux Falls School District, which will result in improved teacher quality and increased consistency in instruction. As each grade level worked on their curriculum review, they were working with the state standards. At the elementary level, those state standards did not have a lot of changes, and so that particular committee was focusing primarily on cleaning up their scope and sequence and moving the curriculum documents into the district's new online formatting. The committee worked together to build and align activities to the standards and to make sure that there was a good, usable resource page for all teachers to use, which will help facilitate making sure that we have a more uniform curriculum going across the district. There were greater changes at the middle school level. At the middle school level, we were really seeing a shift of moving from a focus on physical activities like maybe team sports to more education about what does it mean to be a physically fit individual. How do I, as an individual, take responsibility for my physical fitness? How do I measure that fitness? And then how do I develop a plan based on what my personal fitness is to move forward and improve that fitness? And how do the choices that I make in my life impact my fitness? At the high school level, the focus again was on making sure that we're having uniformity across the district so that if a student goes from Roosevelt to Lincoln mid-semester and goes into the class at Lincoln, they're not experiencing something very different than they were having at Roosevelt. At the high school level, what we really want to see is those kids applying the knowledge that they gained at middle school. So even as they select what course are they going to take in high school, it comes out of what have they learned about themselves and what they do well and what they need to work harder on. One of the things that the committee worked as the steering committee consisted of several members from the community, and we were looking for opportunities for partnerships, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a couple minutes. Technology to support the PE curriculum adoption. It might not seem at first intuitive to think that PE needs iPods and iPads because after all, aren't we out working? If you think about when you go to a fitness class, that music is very inspirational. Go into some of our PE classes and you'll hear that our teachers are using music to help engage and motivate the students. So the iPods are for music. The iPads and Apple TV, again, if we can have something on display up so that the students can see the instructions for what they're going to be doing or maybe see a demonstration of what they're going to be doing, that frees up the teacher to be able to go around and work with the students. One of the things that this adoption we're particularly excited about is the updated heart rate monitors. We have sets that we can use at all three levels. Again, as part of teaching kids, what does it feel like to get your heart rate up where it needs to be, that desired level of activity for a sustained period of time? How do I feel when I'm like that? How do I know what that feels like? Helps me then to understand how to do sustained physical activity to achieve the results that we want. The headsets and microphones are to facilitate, again, for the teachers moving around to be able to talk and the kids to be able to hear what the teachers are saying. We were thinking about ways that we can partner with the community. One of the things that we're very aware of is that we have lots of things available here in Sioux Falls. How can we tie our kids into that so that they can understand what's available to them to continue implementing the choices that they make about their personal fitness? So we talked with some of the committee members. Are there opportunities for free passes that could be distributed to the kids, what that might look like? Presenters at schools, we want to put together a list of resources that would be available to all of the teachers, so maybe they can bring in a nutritionist to talk to the kids, or maybe they can bring in someone who can talk particularly about strategies for strength training. All of those ways, any way that we can partner with the resources that we have available here in our community. The special education, those students that we have that have special needs, are, as with all of our curriculum adoptions, there was a committee that was looking specifically at that to make sure that we have updated those resources and that curriculum as well, so that we're using all of the modern technology that we have available to us and the best practices in instruction to move forward. The listing of materials was found at the end of your board report. And I would ask that the board would acknowledge the report and approve the recommended K-12 physical education curriculum adoption.
Any questions for Ann on the report and the curriculum adoption?
No, I just think about how much fitness has changed in the last, 5, 10, 15 years, and you can download an app that will tell you what to do for activities. And so thinking about having that technology available to be able to have not the gym teacher just, take a break, but to be able to have somebody else talking over a speaker and giving instructions on what they're supposed to be doing, and then walking around and assisting students and participating in those activities, I think is a really great opportunity. It's almost like having another person there without having another person there. So I like to see kind of the integration of the technology and using it creatively in classes that you might not otherwise think of, like a PE class. So very interesting.
Okay. Could I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second?
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
The second report of the evening is the Avera Academy report. This comes to us from our Assistant Superintendent in charge of academic achievement, Dr. Boyson.
Thank you. Thanks, Ann. Good evening. Tonight I have the pleasure to bring to you the Avera Academy report. The purpose of the report is to provide you information about the Avera Academy that will provide 24 students the opportunities to participate in dual credit coursework at Southeast Technical Institute and explore the field of health careers and other related opportunities that are present in at a medical facility, because we often think about a doctor and a nurse. So it'll give students those opportunities. So when we look at this, the first thing we want to do is look at how does it fit within our strategic plan. And it falls under student outcomes, priority area number 1. And we want to provide effective, engaging curriculum and instruction for all students to emphasize growth and reduce the achievement gap, but really looking at differentiated and engaging pathways and college readiness and career preparedness. So really meets those needs. And we want to continue to expand those pathways for students. And so we're committed to providing those multiple pathways. Early this fall, we were engaged with a conversation at Avera with the Sioux Falls School District and STI to see how can we put this together. And so out of that conversation, this developed. And really looking at the Academy being sponsored by Avera to offer quality educational opportunities for students who are interested in those jobs in health, career, and related fields. And so it's a collaborative partnership between Southeast, Avera, and Sioux Falls School District. The Academy is designed to offer a menu of courses for students to take simultaneously with their high school class. So dual credit offered on STI's campus. And the courses would look student success, which is required by STI, but also by multiple universities. They always offer a student success course for their freshmen coming in. If students are looking for something in the medical field, medical terminology would be a good one. College algebra would be a gen ed course that students could take that would fulfill that fourth requirement of math for high school, but also fall into that dual credit for college or post-secondary degree, or composition or college speech. Those are some of the types of courses that would work for students. How's the program designed? The funding from Avera would support 24 students for health careers and related fields. Students had to fill out an application and turn it in to their counselors. The application had to include 2 references from their teachers, so they had to have those sponsorships or recommendations from them. And they're selected based on financial hardship or a low-income household, person in the family to attend a post-secondary school, facing life challenges, and Avera is really focused on the new American, and that was one of their charges. So those are the 4 scanning pieces on the application, but then really looking at what's best for students. And the applications were due last week, and we have 35 applications right now. So the middle of March, a team between Southeast, Avera, and Sioux Falls School District will meet to review those applications and pick the 24 that will be enrolled in the program for the fall of 2019. Another piece of the program is Avera hired a full-time staff person. And this might sound very familiar to you, this program, and it's modeled after Learners to Leaders that was funded by Smithfield. But we knew that key person, there was a person that aligned Sioux Falls School District, the students, STI, and Smithfield. That person was what made that program successful for students. And Avera sponsored, they hired a person to take care of that for us. And that person will be the glue or the stickiness between Avera, Sioux Falls School District, the students, and STI. They will work key with those students to make sure that they're getting their homework in. They're looking at how do we help support them through the FAFSA, college applications. Maybe this course would best fit your interest. And so really it's a career counselor, a guidance person for those students to make sure they're successful in this program. And the program design, it will operate Monday through Fridays, and it's in the morning. And Monday through Friday, the students will be out on the Southeast campus, and they will take those core general academic coursework. And then on Fridays, they'll go to the Avera campus. And while they're on the Avera campus, they'll work with that course administrator looking at all different types of job opportunities that are offered. And so that way they can really do some exploration and find out what's best for them. And they'll look at, other days they'll look at soft skills training, interview skills, and really work with them to develop them and make sure they're ready when they go out there for those interviews. Avera support, they hired an Avera Academy administrator, so a full-time person to help support those students, and that's above and beyond the $100,000 that they're going to provide annually to support those 24 students. So tuition and fees for 24 students, textbooks. They put in some money for transportation in case students, because we know transportation can sometimes get in the way. So there's some money in there in case transportation is needed. And then anything that's left over, they're going to use it for the Build Dakota scholarships at the end of the year. So at the end, when we get down to it, if there's $8,000 or $50,000 left over, they'll turn that over to scholarships for those students to be able to apply that out at STI. And so that's the Avera's investment, $100,000 annually to support those 24 students, and then a full-time academy administrator on top of that. And that's an Avera employee. So they posted, interviewed, and hired. So what are the outcomes? We look for a rich, engaged community of learners that enable our students to enhance their knowledge of career opportunities at Avera, and the opportunity for students who might not have had this to pursue secondary degree. And with that, I'll stand by for questions. Yes.
So if they only do this program, will they end with a certificate of any kind, or what?
Not a certificate, but they'll end up with dual credits. So if they take one course in the fall and one in the spring, they could end up with 6 credits by the time they get done, because it's just for seniors this year. Previously, it had been for juniors and seniors, but next year it will be just for seniors. Mm-hmm. So they'll end up with some dual credits.
Exactly.
Other questions?
Oh, I'm just grateful that the community is stepping up to help. That was the Learners to Leaders program was such a great program for our students, and so I know it was very disappointing to see that go away. So this is a huge benefit to students in our district. So very appreciative for the efforts and the money and the commitment that they've made. So,
and we know Health Careers is big in Sioux Falls. We have 2 great entities here. So
Great opportunity for 24 kids.
it is.
Great opportunity for us to work with STI. Great with kids to be able to go through Avera and maybe look at some different career opportunities. It's just a great program.
Well, I'm pleased to see the groundwork that was laid with Learners to Leaders through Smithfield is very valuable as you take it to this next level and get the health field involved, which, as you said, is critical. It just provides an opportunity still for those students who have never had a family member that has gone on to any sort of higher ed. That just, to me, shows our continued commitment as a district to make sure that those kids who, through no fault of their own, are a bit marginalized, and this provides them with an opportunity that they wouldn't have otherwise. So great community partnership with Avera and STI and the school district continue to work together for a robust program that I think is just going to continue to grow. So thank you for your hard work. I know you have put in yeoman's work on this and spent a lot of time to help get this put together, and I appreciate that.
It's a team effort. We have a good team. So
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. We need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second?
Further conversation? Good stuff. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you.
Well, the next report is the report of the Capital Improvement Plan update. You've become accustomed at this point to receiving an update on the Capital Improvement Plan at the second board meeting each month. Generally speaking, we talk about design development, we talk about brick and mortar, and this month we thought we would give Mr. Kreider a little break and talk a little bit about some of those things that maybe aren't as intuitive when you think about the passage of the bond issue and what has to happen in order for us to open up a building here soon. As you know, a couple of things have already happened. Number one, there was land acquisition that had to happen. That's happened. We have land for the new for Jefferson High School. We have land for Rifle Middle School. So on your list of things to do, you can check that box. Also, we had to get about naming of the buildings. So we did that, as I just mentioned, with Jefferson High School and Rifle Middle School. And check that off of the to-do list. Next, one thing that was counterintuitive to me was when we were at a design development meeting probably a couple of months ago now, and the architect said, as soon as you come up with the mascot and the school colors, we'll weave those into the design. I said, well, we better put together a plan for getting the mascots. So we have a plan where this week we'll work with the student advisory group. That's a group of 16 students from all of our high schools who will come together and go through a process of not only determining mascots, but determining school colors for Jefferson High School and for Rifle Middle School. So at your next board meeting, we can check that off of the to-do list. One of the other things that I get asked frequently, I'll bet you do too, and it's about boundary changes. I think it's one of those things that most people really don't want to talk about, but they know it's inevitable, and so they want to know what is the plan for talking about the boundary changes. And I always tell folks when I talk about this topic to begin with the end in mind. We're going to open up the buildings in the fall of 2021. So if we back up from there, our goal is to have a boundary plan in place by the fall of 2020. So we're about 18 months out yet of having that plan in place. So if we go then back up from the fall of 2020, I'm guessing that the process takes about 6 months. So somewhere about a year from now, we need to begin that process. I think in February or March of 2020, we begin that process of meeting with administrators, meeting with community people, updating the board, and go through that process, much like we went through with the strategic plan, much like we went through with the task force leading up to the bond issue. I anticipate that sort of community involvement and that sort of engagement in putting that final product together. The third bullet point that you see there says bring in a consultant, and I should have put a question mark behind there. Because if you're wondering, when did we agree to that? You haven't agreed to that. But it's one thing I know that at IPC, one of the things that we're talking about is that might be a best practice. I know West Side Schools in Omaha just went through a boundary change, and they had what I will categorize as pretty good community upheaval, and then they brought in a consultant and got to a logical conclusion, at least for their school district. I wonder if it might benefit us to bring in a consultant like we did at the beginning of the bond issue, the task force process, to somebody who has more experience in leading those group processes than we would in an engagement like this. So at this point, that's still a question and something we'll consider. We won't do that without not only your knowledge, but your permission. The next thing that maybe is counterintuitive again when you think of capital improvement, and maybe this is more of a bond issue update than a capital improvement update, but how do we begin to staff the buildings, the Jefferson High School and Rifle Middle School? I've had some conversations with schools who have opened up new buildings. Now, not new buildings where they've moved from an existing building into a new building, but yet a new building in their school district. And one of the common themes that I've seen, at least at the high school level, is that you bring a high school principal on, you bring a high school activities director on, and you bring a lead clerical person for that high school on a year in advance of the opening of that school. And you can begin to not only staff all of the positions that need staff in that new building, but you can begin putting together all of the plans. Think of the schedule that needs to be put in place, the student schedule. Think of the fire drills, the tornado drills, all of those things that need to be put into place. I anticipate that we'll hire a lead clerical, an AD, and a lead principal a year in advance of the opening of a new high school. I think they'll have other duties as well, but I don't know what those other duties are today. At the middle school, I see a similar sort of scenario, and I will we'll have those conversations with other districts. But we opened up McGovern Middle School here not too long ago, and I think we can look at the successes that we've had within our own school system. Certainly there's going to be some lead time needed for a principal to be on board and for a lead clerical to be on board, but I don't anticipate quite as much time as what is needed for the high school. I'm less sure today as to what that looks like, but I'll keep you up to speed on that as we go forward. Also, from a capital improvement plan update, this is the most recent information, and I think I've talked to a couple of you about this. We have put the groundbreaking dates, put these on your calendar if you don't have them already. Groundbreaking for Jefferson High School will be June 18th, not too long from now, at 11:30. And Ben Rifle Middle School groundbreaking will be on July 22nd, and that'll be at 4:30 p.m. The Rifle Middle School groundbreaking will actually take place at the conclusion of our annual summer retreat. So we'll have a pay bills only meeting and then a retreat, and then we'll can reconvene at the groundbreaking for Ben Rifle Middle School. I might have told some of you 11:30 on the Rifle Middle School. If I did, scratch that from your memory and put 4:30 in. After checking with the chamber, the 11:30 date, the 11:30 time on that date was already taken. Questions that you might have? A lot of scenarios to work through.
I was just writing some notes. Did you say March or April of 2020 is when we would likely start having those conversations?
February or March.
February, March of
For
2020.
the boundaries?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
I think about a year from now.
Yeah.
Maybe slightly sooner, maybe slightly later, but about a year from now, I think we'll begin that process. And sooner or later will depend on when do we want to have that final report to the board for your consideration. Is that June, July, August? And then if we go the consultant route, to talk to the consultant about what does the community process look like, and figuring out how do we include all of those opportunities to collect the information and the data we need to make that decision. But roughly speaking, I think about a year from now.
Other questions? No hints on school colors?
No, actually, the media today asked me hints on mascot names or school colors. That is truly going to be student-driven. I say that with all sincerity, and I'll be in the room when they're doing that. I can't wait to listen to the conversation, number one. I think it will be enlightening. We have already had some color schemes and mascots submitted by students who are part of that group, and I think it'll be a lively conversation, and I'm very optimistic as to what the outcome is. I just don't know what that outcome is.
And that's exactly the way it should be. I was giving you a hard time.
I thought maybe you were.
It should be student-driven, and I think that's the appropriate way to handle it. So, great. Thanks for the report. I may have a motion to acknowledge the capital improvement update, please.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. And we are on to the legislative update.
Fourth report of this evening will come to you from our business manager, Mr. Veek.
Thank you. We're deep into the legislative session. We've gone through all the bills that we've analyzed. We identified eight key bills, and I'll just go through those tonight real quick. Of those 8 key bills, we supported 2. We opposed 6. 6 of the key bills have died. 2 have passed their original chamber and are now waiting for committee action in the next one. The 2 bills that are still alive are 1066. It's a citizenship test prior to graduation. We oppose that bill. That was a House bill, so it's over in the Senate now, just waiting for committee action. And then Senate Bill 3 was a key bill for us. Really what we wanted it amended. It's a special ed task force. We wanted a special ed administrator and a business manager to be included in that. That was put on there. So since it was amended, we favor it. But really the key for us was getting that bill amended. So that passed the Senate, so it's going over to the House Education Committee. Just quickly, bills that have died so far are 1058 would require certain sped services to be provided. That died in the House Ed. 1166 would prohibit certain physical examinations on students. That died on the House floor. 1151 would require schools to permit certain acts at graduation. That died in House State Affairs. House Bill 1227 would provide certain electric company taxes to go to non-public schools. That one was withdrawn by the sponsor. And House Bill 1232 would have lowered the compulsory attendance age to 16. That bill died on the House floor. We opposed all those bills. One other one, House Bill 1139 was amended to restore the capital outlay levy to $3 per thousand. When it was amended, we made it a key bill, supported it. That died on the House floor. It had 2 votes on it. Got 33 one time and 34 another time. Needed 36 in either case. So that bill narrowly was defeated. And then Senate Bill 3 we talked about. That was the task force bill. So those are the key bills, and 2 of them are left. With that, I'd ask you to acknowledge the legislative update.
Questions? I do have one question. We discussed at, I think, work session and maybe the last board meeting, the high number of placeholder bills that are out there. Is there still time to have meat put on bones on placeholder bills?
That's kind of why they do that, so they can get it. I think they moved one from one to the other. I don't have it off the top of my head, but they move it over and then make a decision in the last week or 2, and then they don't have to kill someone else's bill to hog house it. It's easier to come up with a late idea. And there's at least one out there and maybe a couple left.
Okay. So we're still keeping an eye on what might happen there too.
Is it today the last day for
To get out, I believe so.
Move out of committee, or from one house to the other, or from one?
Yeah, I don't have the exact. I think, maybe it's tomorrow. It's usually what is today? Monday. It's usually a Tuesday. They got to get out of the House of Origin. So I'm guessing that's tomorrow that they got to actually pass them. So it'll be a late night.
Any other questions for Business Manager Veek? If not, may I have a motion to acknowledge the legislative update, please?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. That brings us to the bottom of the agenda. Any additional business to come before the board? If not, may I have a motion for adjournment, please?
So moved.
We are adjourned. Thank you.